Happy Tuesday, everyone. This video or webinar is being recorded, so those of you that couldn't attend live, you will be able to get the recording afterwards. So reach out to anybody you hear, or to any of, you can share the video with anybody after the fact, and I'll make sure I share it with you here on the call and those that registered on the webinar formally. From the faces I see on the screen, I know most of you know me, but just in case for the recording purposes, my name's Julie Brown. I'm a nurse practitioner, and I am certified and specialized in functional medicine. I have almost 30 years of healthcare experience. I've been a nurse practitioner for 9, and through my own personal health journey, discovered the power of functional medicine and got to the root cause of the symptoms I was personally having. So being on the patient side, being told everything was coming back normal, actually got to the root cause and resolved my symptoms. So that kind of opened the passion and door for getting certified, opening my own practice, and being able to let you know, I see you, I hear you, and I believe you, having been on the patient side. So the purpose of this webinar today is a super high-level genetics 101. I have started actually incorporating this report in my current private practice with patients because it really gets rid of any guessing. So the title of the webinar is Less Guessing, More Personalization. The genetics test is a cheek swab. It's 60 seconds in your cheek. It gets sent off, and then I get a report that basically is your, it's a one and done test. You only have to do it one time because it's your DNA. DNA is not going to change. So you can do this test on a 1-year-old, on a 25-year-old, on a 75-year-old, and it's the same exact information because it's your DNA. So what's unique to this 3x4 genetics report is that it's not giving us all 20,000 plus genes. It's really focused on, in regard to nutrition, movement, and supplements, and the direct impact of those gene expressions when it's paired with better nutrition, lifestyle, and supplement choices. Clients will often ask me, why does one person thrive on a certain plan? I've got people around me doing so much better, and I'm doing the same thing, and it's not working for me. I'm frustrated. Why am I stuck? Other clients will say, like, well, I can drink coffee all day long, even after dinner, right before bedtime, and I sleep great. And other clients are like, oh my gosh, I cannot have any caffeine after 12 o'clock or I'm done. Like, my sleep that night's going to be wrecked. Those are two very simple, common examples, but there'll be many more that we can talk about if you're interested in learning about your own DNA blueprint. So this is not about labeling you or predicting your future. It's about learning how your body responds to food, stress, exercise. We even talk about toxins and key nutrients. I love that it actually gives me the ability to know more precisely the dosages of supplements you need so that you're not taking too much vitamin D or too much zinc or too much selenium. It literally, based on your genetic blueprint, guides me on what your genes want to optimize them the most. So again, we have over 20,000 genes. This particular report focuses on the 178 genes that this clinical team has decided or deemed that has the most impact based on nutrition, lifestyle, and supplementation. So it's not giving us genetic information about, are you BRCA positive for breast cancer? Do you have the sickle cell trait? It's literally focused on the 170 plus genes that they have narrowed in that can give us like the most support for those gene expressions and optimize our longevity. So this matters because we're not all built exactly the same. Two people can eat the same way and respond very differently. Genetics can help explain tendencies, but not guarantees. So the goal is that I'm able to provide you super personalized, individualized support and not just what should work for most people. So that as a provider feels incredible. So this test helps answer why one person may do well with a certain lifestyle while other people struggle. It gives us clues about your built-in genetic tendencies so we can personalize habits, nutrition, and support you more intelligently. Two key words that will come up, and I'm just going to give you like a quick definition and we'll move on, is basically think of this as like a nutrigenetics or nutrigenomics. Okay, what does that mean? So nutrigenetics is how your genes affect how you respond to food, as an example. Nutrigenomics is how food and lifestyle can influence how your genes are expressed. So the goal is your genes set the tendencies, but your daily choices really do still matter. Those of you that know me best know what I'm about to say is that I commonly will say genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle is what pulls the trigger. So The nutrigenetics, here's another way to think of it, is how is your body wired to respond, versus nutrigenomics is how can food and lifestyle help support function even better. This is why genes are useful, but they are never the whole story. So the people that I feel that would benefit most from this genetic test, this 3x4 test, are people who want a more personalized wellness plan, people who feel like they're doing all the right things but just not getting results and just feel stuck, people who are interested in prevention and optimization, and people who truly want a better understanding of food, energy, stress, and recovery patterns based on their DNA blueprint. One of the huge strengths of this report and why I've started using it in my practice is that it groups genes into pathways instead of just overreacting to one single gene. They are all interrelated. So it gives us a more practical picture of where we can support you, and it can be the most useful place to support you. Can everybody see the screen where you can see, like, it says it's my Julie Brown genetics? So I'm going to share my genetic report because, again, this can be given to a 1-year-old, 25-year-old, 75-year-old. There's nothing on here that I wouldn't want to share with you, because it's not saying I have something or guaranteed to have something. It's just showing my DNA blueprint and what tendencies that I need to support based on my genetic blueprint to optimize longevity and health. So your genes are not your destiny. So genes show predispositions, not guarantees, like I said. Lifestyle, environment, stress, sleep, and food really matter a lot, more than we give it credit for. The point is to work with our body and not fight with it. So the information that this has taught me is like really validated why I struggle in certain areas, and the things that my genes are powerful in, and if I do those things, it will support my areas of weakness. So just identifying those balances very specifically. It does look across 36 metabolic pathways. Again, this is days and days of information, so I'm just giving you really, really high level. I'm happy to answer any specific questions offline. It does it across like a cellular pathway, a systems, cardiovascular, energy, activity, nutrients. I love that it tells me that, like, hey, you struggle genetically with endurance. You do better when you do power training. Your fat cells are going to respond better when you do power training versus endurance training. So things like that are just like eye-opening, incredible, so people aren't struggling as much and they see results faster. The information can become very useful when it leads to action, and so it just helps you not have to like fight against your own body. So a genetics report should really not make you feel like you're broken. It should help people feel like they're informed, empowered, and more strategic, instead of that, well, 80% of the time it works. It's like, no, literally I can tell you what is going to support your genes the best, so you see results faster. All right, so we're going to focus on the report. I got a thumbs up that people can see that, so that's good. So the report that you see here on the screen is what everyone gets. It's unique to every single person. So it starts with this is your personal genetic story, Julie Brown. And then it has the color coding. So it has low, medium, high, and very high. That's on the far right side. So that basically lets us know across those 178 genes where we have the highest impact possible. So the biggest value is not in actual individual genes. It's how these genes interact with each other. So the biggest value is that it provides clarity and really helps us narrow down where to focus first. So when you see very high, you think, oh, that's a problem. That gene is not expressed. It's expressing in a negative way. So when you see the word impact, don't think of it as negative or positive. Think of it as biggest, lowest to highest opportunity. The next 2 pages of the report are incredible. I love it because it allows me the ability to basically do that narrow and focus and give you your 3 highest opportunities. For me, inflammation, histamine overload, and oxidative stress are off the charts. Not surprising, it does line up. And the patients that I've done these interpretations with are like, yep, nailed it. Now I don't feel like I'm crazy. I totally get now. This makes sense. This checks the boxes. It provides 3 nutritional recommendations specific to that gene expression. It provides 3 supplement recommendations and 3 lifestyle activity movement recommendations. We don't have enough time on the call to go into all of those, but just know it's really down to that deeper level for every single opportunity: low, medium, high, and very high. The next 2 pages are the 170 plus genes that they are looking at. So for my data people and my scientific people that really want the nitty gritty and to like do the deep dive and peel away all the layers to the onion, here are the individual genes that are being flagged and how they're protective, no impact, low, medium, high, and very high. My focus always at the first time we meet regarding the results of this report is to just focus on your top 3. Just focus on your top 3. And think about it like in the cellular, like if we're getting down to the cellular level, that affects every cell, organ, tissue in our body. If we're targeting those as the top categories, that's going to then have that trickle down positive effect to every part of you. So there are protective ones. They have the shields. That's on the top left. So those are actual gene expressions that I have that are helpful and very protective for me. And then some will be starred. I have 1 star here on the right in the very high category. And those to me are like going to go number 1 on the list of priority to support that gene expression. So it stays helping me in a positive way and not a negative way. Then the report, so think of this one on the left. These are the 36 pathways across the 6 categories that I mentioned earlier. So you have cellular, systems, cardiovascular, energy, activity, and nutrients. And then the color coding stays consistent throughout the report. So when you see that dark purple, that's very high opportunity. When you see the regular purple, high. When you see the sage, medium. And when you see that mustard green color, low. Again, we focus on the very, very high right out the gate. This is a report that I can work with you over years, just small bite-sized pieces over time, prioritizing those top 3 opportunities first and foremost. Then the report basically, so the pathway-based results page is a 1-page summary of the entire 30-page report. Right there, boom, that summarizes all of it. Now the next few pages are basically unraveling each category. So cellular, here are the 4 things in cellular, so it's on the right hand side, that represents what you see on the left hand side, but now it unravels it and gives you more information. Everybody's pictures are unique, so you will see a DNA strand, you will see a cell, you will see a mitochondria, but based on your low, medium, high, or very high opportunity, the pictures, the graphics get bigger or smaller because it's based on the level of impact. I'll show you when we get to the endurance and activity one of like weight gain opportunity for me. Like my guy is on the struggle bus pushing up that kilogram ball. So just know that the pictures change in dynamics based on your low, medium, high, or very high opportunities. The graphics are incredible in this report. I love it. So here's the systems and cardiovascular. So the left hand is your systems, mood, behavior, memory, and brain. So this lets us know like, do you have a higher tendency for cognitive decline sooner than we would expect? So if that is a dark purple, we're prioritizing that with like omega-3s and good quality fatty acids and brain exercises like lumosity, just to keep those neural connections stronger and to build new ones to support you. So we could be more proactive in that area. For me, as we talked about, histamine is a high opportunity. Moving over to the right, it gives us the cardiovascular, clotting potential, blood pressure potential issues. So again, it gives us our genetic expression tendency. So like blood pressure, for example, it says you may experience blood pressure dysregulation. Well, if I'm a smoker, a heavy drinker, sedentary, poor nutrition, even if that was like a no impact or a low, I'm going to have blood pressure issues. So it's not saying that it's guaranteeing you're going to have these problems. It's just that you have a genetic tendency to potentially have that problem. But when you pair it with better choices, you can support that gene expression and keep the dimmer switch low instead of turning it full blast. This is my favorite. I feel like when I say the people that need this, I feel like these are the 2 pages they need the most, and that makes the most sense for everyone. Because they're like, I'm working out, I'm eating right, I'm doing all the right things, and I'm struggling. I don't understand. The left side gives us like your energy expenditure at a genetic level. Like, okay, do you have a lower metabolic rate, like resting metabolic rate? Do you have a tendency to gain weight very easily? Are your fat cells like just love to store more and more in fat? Are they larger? See how big mine are on the screen? Because that's a high purple for me. Is your fat tend to be more pro-inflammatory? If you exercise, do your fat cells serve you well, or do they not, and you continue to struggle? and see the guy at the very bottom on the left, like I have always struggled with weight gain. I'm the person that can look at food and put weight on, and I have somebody next to me eating, seconds, and they're at their goal weight and have no issues. So my interpretation for me is that if I exercise and I put in the effort, my fat cells will serve me well and respond. It's when I'm sedentary that weight gain becomes even more of a struggle for me, because notice my metabolic resting metabolism is super low, big opportunity in the purple. So I have to put in even more effort to get response. Well, then you're like, well, what do you do? Do I do running? Do I do HIIT? Do I do Orange Theory? Do I do Pure Barre? What do I do then? And the right side tells us what we do. So for me, it's going to take me longer to do endurance training. So somebody that's training for a marathon might, be able to do marathon training in 3 months. For me, it would probably take 5 or 6 months. I'm going to be able to cross the finish line and have a close time to them, but it's going to take me, genetically speaking, twice as long to get to that point. And then this page also supports that, like, endurance training is going to be tough for me. I can still do it. It's just going to be more effort over time. But power training, so if I do weightlifting and resistance training, my body loves that. And so I need to incorporate more of that into my routine. The other thing is like this little guy in the bottom right where he's like sitting there like crisscross applesauce and zenning. It lets me know that I don't need to have 4 or 5 days of recovery in between, or even 3. If I have an intense workout, let's say like an intense lower body workout or a really hard CrossFit or HIIT training class or an intense Orange Theory, I just need to make sure I give myself 1 to 2 days of solid rest. Now, I can stretch, I can walk, I can do yoga, but I don't need to be doing Orange Theory back-to-back days. That's not going to serve me well. That's going to feed that inflammation, which is going to make things worse and make me weight loss resistant. We're almost done. And then the nutrients overview. This is incredible information as well. So this is the example of, like, the top left shows caffeine. I'm a fast metabolizer of caffeine. I'm the person that can have the cafe con leche at 9 o'clock at night and go to bed and be totally fine and get great sleep. If you're like high opportunity dark purple with caffeine, you are the one that can't have it past 12, and it's going to have a negative impact because of that just delayed metabolism. So this page is where I can really dial in, what do you need specifically? Do you need choline supplementation? Do you need vitamin D supplementation, and how much? I already take 5,000 international units of vitamin D. You guys know how passionate I am about vitamin D. It is our silent superhero for all things. And I apparently need even more based on my genetics. I was like, okay, great. I'll up it. That, because I know I'm supporting my gene expression and then my cellular health and longevity. Choline is a huge opportunity for me. I would say 9 out of 10 patients so far that I'm doing interpretations of this report, choline is a high opportunity and they are deficient. And choline supports us down. It's brain health, bone health, and cellular, like the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria. Choline is critical. And I've only had one patient that's been a low opportunity. Everyone else has been high or very high for choline so far. Now, granted, my denominator is not large because I've just recently started incorporating this, but it's been awesome to see, like, okay, wow, I need to be really mindful of choline for more people now that I'm seeing this trend and pattern. The rest of the report is a glossary. It basically gives you alphabetically every single, like all 36 pathways and what it means, so that if you don't have a provider available to you to interpret the report, I mean, you guys do, hello. But if you don't have a provider available to interpret this for you, it gives you like a quick definition glossary alphabetically, and it honors that same color coding. So you're not having to scroll back up and be like, wait, what was I, low, medium, high, very high? What category was I in for this one? And then so that it does all of those. And then it provides every single pathway with the individual genes color-coded that basically gave it that very high, medium, or low ranking. I'm going to close with some like common myths, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A. How am I on time? Okay, great. 21 minutes. Not too bad. All right, so common myth, my genes determine everything. You know what I'm going to say. Fact, genes influence tendencies, but lifestyle matters more so, in my opinion. Myth, this test gives a diagnosis. Fact, it gives predispositions and direction, not a diagnosis. Because think about it, this test does not know your current lifestyle patterns, how much you weigh, what you eat, what your activity is like, how many hours of sleep you're getting, what your stress level is. It knows none of that. It's just giving us gene expression so we can support it. Myth: one bad gene ruins everything. The 3x4 looks at patterns across pathways and not one gene in isolation. Myth: I need to understand all the science to really appreciate the benefit. And I would say, as a fact, you mainly need to understand the key priorities, like what are the next steps? What clarity has this provided? What are my top 3 opportunities and what are next steps? And that's my job, is to help identify those top 3 opportunities, next steps, and then just peel away layers over time. This is not a 1-hour visit, one and done. The test is one and done. But the interpretation and incorporation into your daily routine arguably is over years, because it's just, there's that much depth of information, but we just focus on the top 3 and then we go from there. The report is a roadmap, not a label. Start with the highest priority pathways, focus on simple, sustainable changes. Personalized care works best when genetics is combined with the rest of your health story, so the whole big picture. So again, this report knows nothing about, it knows your name, it knows your DNA blueprint, but it doesn't know current medical conditions, weight, choices, that kind of stuff. So that's my job, is to help thread in current life with the DNA blueprint. So again, your genes may load the gun, but lifestyle helps decide what happens next. This fits the evidence-based idea that gene variants do influence predisposition, while environment and habits affect expression. So the goal of the test is not to make health more complicated. Inversely, the goal is to make your next steps more personal, more focused, and more useful, which is what I have just absolutely loved about learning. And I'm continuing to learn because, like I said, it would take a year or 2 for us to go through it together with you. It takes a year or 2 as a learning curve for me to be able to know the ins and outs of all of it, because it's just an incredible depth of information. So I'm on this journey with you, and it's been so far an amazing tool to provide more personalized, individualized care, which has been incredible. Patients are seeing results faster because I've got the DNA blueprint as the foundation, which has been incredible. So with that, I'm going to open the floor to any questions.
Quick question, Julie. Would this be a good idea to have our kids take so that we understand their bodies better?
Yeah. I say you can do this on the day you enter the world to the day you, I mean, like, that's not going to change. I did it on my son and daughter, and I'm in the process working, not, I haven't done my daughter yet. I'm going to, but my son, and he's 20, he'll be 21 tomorrow. But, so he's 20, and it's been incredible. And he's only been on the targeted supplements, and it was only 3 based on his DNA blueprint. And he's like, Mom, I'm already feeling better. My energy is already better because we're fueling him precisely
Right,
now.
right. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Another common question that I get is, how much does it cost? Because most genetic testing is in the thousands. This one is $299. So for $299, you one and done, never has to be repeated. And in my opinion, I mean, people spend more than $300 a month on Starbucks probably. Like, this is incredible value, and it's a one and done. Never needs to be repeated. And it's a 60-second cheek swab. It's not a blood test. It's not a skin prick. It's like a 60-second cheek swab first thing in the morning before you brush your teeth. Good question. Anyone else? I have an audience. Does anybody here have a question? No? Okay. All right.
We want to do it.
I have 2 people in my audience back here.
We want to try.
2 family members join me. So they're like, yeah, we're definitely doing it. So yeah. And it comes in this cool little little tube. It's like this, like, looks like something off of a spaceship or something. But yeah, and it's got the little Q-tip in there, and it has a prepaid return label. It's incredible. Yeah. Any other questions? I'm trying to be really good about being respectful of time. Christine, I know you have a question. Come on.
I would say a question for someone that I think this is hitting the nail with so many people feeling very frustrated of looking around going, I'm doing all the right thing. I'm doing what Sally's doing, but why am I not seeing the same results or whatever it might be? Because there's so much information that flows through the internet. Um, so I think even just hearing from your son, like when they get on the right things, they are within almost like you said, days or a week or two, feeling already the difference. So I think sometimes people might go, when I start this, when can I start feeling better? When can I start seeing results? What would you say in that regard?
And that's the thing is like usually it's within, I can say within months, but when we're intentionally targeting optimizing genetic expression, it's awesome. Like he said, literally within a week and a half, 2 weeks, he's not even used the first 30 days of the three supplements he's on. And he's like, Mom, literally, sleep is better, energy is better. Wow. He's like, I mean, I know you're an expert at what you do, but I mean, obviously, like, I trust what you're going to tell me. But I was like, based on the DNA report, I was able to be like, okay, you can work out intense, but you can only work. And his didn't match mine. We're all unique. So
Mhm.
I mean, I could be like, oh, you're a 20-year-old. You can lift heavy every day. You got a great metabolism, fast metabolism. No, so with that targeted supplement lifestyle nutrition recommendation, so for him, he was also high histamine. And so leftovers are not a great idea. And he was my meal prepper for 30 days out, and he would freeze 3 weeks worth and then take out 1 week at a time. And I was like, buddy, I know that that's efficient, but maybe we need to dial that back or not do food prep as much when it's that high pollen, high allergy season, because that does affect him. Because then that's going to make that histamine bucket overflow. So just like being able to be really precise and targeted feels really good because I'm not giving trained general advice. I'm giving very targeted advice now, unique to you.
Yeah, no, that's excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm.
It seems super valuable too for people who do want to exercise but feel like they've been frustrated in that exercise pool of like, I only do HIIT. And then you realize, oh, no wonder that's your body's in constant stress mode when you do that, or your body actually responds better to at lifting. I don't know. I just think that's pretty valuable information.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's why I scroll back up to those 2 pages to me are usually the most aha moment and relatable where people don't feel like it's DNA, nerdy, scientific, medical. They're like, oh, look at those pictures. And they're color coded based on the level of impact and opportunity and totally validate the frustration piece and what you should do. Like you can, like I can do endurance, but I know that I'm gonna slow and steady is gonna win the race. I cannot push myself hard because those big ginormous pro-inflammatory fat cells are gonna just store everything, and I'm gonna see the opposite effect. That's
Hmm.
why, like, I love the Orange Theories. I love doing weight training. Well, there's a reason why, because my body responds better to it. And now
Hmm.
it's like, validated.
No, this is great because I feel like I can think of a couple of people that I can tell them to do something different and I think it would be better for them, but they believe that this is the better way for them to exercise, whatever that might be, and for them to see that what would serve their body better
Mm-hmm.
as well as their recovery, lower the cortisol response, have more longevity in mind. So
Yeah.
I think anything where people get a snapshot of what's true for them, not true
Mm-hmm.
for everybody else, but what's true for them, and
Yeah.
really have, I think, the confidence to know what they're doing to move forward is really helpful.
Well, and then the huge, like you said, confidence and stuff. Like they're gonna see results faster because you're literally supporting at the gene expression basic foundational level.
Yeah.
That's what's exciting because it's just like, I mean, we all know we're experts in our different areas and fields, and like we know like what works most of the time based on how we're trained. But this is like literally unique to every individual, so it takes the guesswork out of it. I love it. All
Very
right,
good.
great questions. All right. Well, if there's not any more questions, I will. I held you over 1 minute, so make sure you share the recording with whoever you think would benefit from it. I love all of you ladies and appreciate your time and support.
Thanks, Julie.
You're welcome. All right.
Really
I'll talk
So
to you
good.
soon.
Thank you.
Bye.